go against Chris Eubank Jr., a fight that was highly anticipated by everybody, certainly by, I know, by all the fans, and having thought I had an agreement with his manager and promoter, Chris Eubank Senior, his father, it's sort of, how can I put it, it's every time we've spoken, things have changed, and it's not got to the stage where the contracts which we forwarded have been signed. Contracts were sent out early in September. Chris and young Christopher were in Vegas training. Their lawyer is based over here. For some reason, Chris has told me, and just before I came in the door, he was on the phone, back on the phone to me. He said that they never had enough time to deal with it, as they only just got back from Vegas. As I said to him, we're in the age of email, telephones, etc. These things are very easy to deal with, and I don't understand why we are where we are. Last night I was on the phone with him, his lawyer, our lawyer, and again we thought we agreed something, and that was 11:30. But unfortunately, what we agreed and what came out the following this morning, even the money was different than what we discussed. Anyway, my initial reaction to that was to say, screw this, and I know that Billy Joe Saunders, which I'll come on to in a minute, I'm sure he'll tell you how he feels about it. But my initial reaction was to say, enough's enough. You know, Billy Joe Saunders is the European, British and Commonwealth champion. He's done it the hard way. He's fought for each of these titles. Young Christopher, great talent and precocious talent that he is. He's fought in 8 rounders. He's not even fought in an eliminator yet for a British title. In fact, he withdrew from one. Billy Joe agreed to give him a voluntary shot. And that, I think, was doing it really for the fans more than anything. That's what he agreed to do. But we are where we are, and Bill is the person who holds all the belts. Bill is the person who you know, holding them belts is prime consideration we have to look at. So he's going to tell you what he wants to do in a minute. But my thing was to move forward and make basically it would have been a world title fight. But we're going to sit tight because Bill will make his position very clear where we are, and then I'll tell you where we are as promoters.
Yeah, just like to say first of all that you know, he's had the contract from the first week in September. Now I'm the champion here. You know, the only reason why he's got his shot at me now and a chance is because of his big mouth, and everybody wants to see him get knocked out, and that's what I would do to him. Now, I've booked flights to go away. I'm going away training camp, spending a lot of money on bringing people in, nutritionists, everything I need to prepare 100% for this fight. And you've got him keep messing around with contracts, changing money, changing a load of stuff. He's had loads of time for it. I mean, the way I look at it now, I'm going to move on after today. If he's not willing today to sign contract on 5 o'clock tonight, I'm going to move on to something different. Because I ain't got time to be waiting around for bums, and that's all he is. That's all he's boxed, is Polish pubmen out the pub. He hasn't boxed anybody, so, but yet he still keeps like he's a world champion going around. He's not a Golovkin, he ain't got a name, he hasn't got a belt, he hasn't done a 10-rounder. He refused a British title eliminator against, I don't know, John Roll or Nick Black, wherever it was. And now he's had his chance to fight me, now he's ducking and diving. I think this is his way out, because, listen, his dad's doing all the talking for him, but now he knows it's coming to it. He knows it's coming to fight time. He knows everybody's getting talking about it. He knows he's going to get beat. So, is he going to pull out? I think he hasn't got the bottle to fight. But, you know, there you go. But as I say, I'll give him to 5 o'clock to get back to Frank. If not, I should tell Frank to make a different fight, put me on the bill, European, or get me British outright, whether it's him or whoever it is. But he's got 5 o'clock tonight to sign the contract, otherwise I'll move on. Because I haven't got time to keep wasting on him. It's different if he's got a world title, then I've got to set tight, I've got to do what he says. He hasn't got to do what I say, he's just got to cooperate with Frank. Everything's been fair, he's getting extremely well paid for it. So, I don't know his problem. There's only one problem with him, he hasn't got the bottle to fight. What I say is, he's a bully. He likes to get in there and punch around people who can't defend themselves. Let me tell you what this is. I'm not somebody coming from Poland, Germany, for him to smash up. He knows I'm coming in there to hurt him bad, and that's what I will do to him. But obviously he's not got the bottle to fight, so he's got 5 o'clock tonight to sign the contract, and I mean it, otherwise I tell Frank to make a different fight for me for the Bill.
And I absolutely support what Bill's saying. So the deadline is 5 o'clock. Give the British fans what they want before we move on, and it will be. And we do have a fight lined up if there is if this doesn't happen. So, and I'm only doing that because of the fact that Bill said that, and because of the conversation. Chris Eubank rang me 10 minutes before I came into the press conference. So we are where we are. So now 5 o'clock. It's a very short document. It's around 8 pages. And if 2 lawyers can't work that out between them, and I've sort of worked on some real tough contracts and done them very quickly. If they can't do that by 5 o'clock, then we know it's not serious. So that's where we are, and so we will be able to let you know by that time today whether this is on or off, or who Bill is fighting. And as I say, we will be announcing whatever happens a fight for Bill after 5 o'clock. I just want to go through the fights that are on the card, which have been agreed and have been signed for. We've got cracking fights. A lot of these are 50-50 fights. We've got the British and Commonwealth Super Featherweight title between Liam Walsh and Gary Sykes. Great fight for the fans. We've got a fabulous fight for the British and vacant Commonwealth Welterweight title between Frankie Gavin, the British champion, and Bradley Skeet, WBA Intercontinental champion. Again, brilliant fight on paper. I'm sure everybody enjoyed that. We've got the vacant WBO European Super Middleweight title, Frank Buglioni against Andrew Robinson. That is a good fight. That's a tough fight, but again, the fans will benefit. Got a fabulous little fight for the WBA International Super Bantamweight title, Luis Petit against Santiago Aliani from Argentina. And then we've got the vacant WBO European Super Featherweight title between Mitchell Smith, who's undefeated, against Zoltan Kovacs from Hungary. Some great youngsters on the undercard. Got a great main event. The missing ingredient is is who Bill fights. So all I will say is Christos Eubanks Sr. You rang me, said you're watching this on live on streaming. If you're serious, 5 o'clock, instruct your lawyer. They both have our numbers. Get it done, or if it's not done, we move on.
And I think that if he's got the mouth, what he says is, and he can beat Golovkin. I mean, come on, they're supposed to be professional people. Is anybody, everybody's been around boxing all their life here, can anyone put their hand up if his son beats Golovkin? You know what I mean? He's brainless, that's what I mean. It's just, and he just knows for 100% fact his son's getting beat. See, his dad can talk around him, his dad can talk to him why this fight's getting made, why people's talking about the fight. Yeah, you can beat Billy Joe, you can do this, son, you can. But now he knows it's come to crunch time, signing a contract, and the fight's 9 weeks away Saturday. Now it's called squeaky bum time. That's what it's called. Now he knows he's got to face it. He's not ready for it. He knows he's not ready for it. Let me tell you one thing. Right, he's been to the Olympic Games at 18, has he? No. He's had 86 amateur fights. All right, lost 6. No. He's boxed all around the world as an amateur. No. I've done from Southern area to Commonwealth to British to WBO Intercontinental to European. Has he boxed 110 rounder yet? No. He refused a British title eliminator. That's it. He ain't got no arse. He's not a fighter. Let me tell you one thing. People keep saying he's hungry this, he's hungry that. I've been brought up in an egg box all my life, come from nothing. He's been brought up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's had the choice. Do we want to fight? Do we want to go to college? Or where do we want to go? I've had to fight all my life. So if he wants to fight, I'm ready to fight. But like I said, it's got to be 5 o'clock, no later. Otherwise, like I say, I want to move on to bigger and better things. Because I know around the corner I've got a world title shot. So I've just got to get through my next fight, whoever that may be. Then I know that I'm going to be world champion after that.
Are there any... Oh, sorry, right, just want to say one thing. Bill Ives, who's a partner with me in Fox Nation. We're both, between him and my family have quite substantial shareholding in the business. We're coming up to our 3rd anniversary. We're having a little lunch here on Monday to celebrate that and tell you about what's happening, how we got there, and obviously what we're doing in the future. Bill's a big believer in the channel like myself, and he's worked very hard with me to get us into this situation. I spoke to him this morning on the phone, and I'm sure he'll tell you yourself, but he said to me, I've never known a business like this, boxing. He said, what is it? Why is there always aggravation? Why can't people do their deals like they should do? Why do we get into this? You know, why are we in these positions? And
that's right. I've never done. In my business, I've had my company for 41 years. We've got an excellent reputation. We always do what we say we're going to do. Stick by deals, and I've done many deals over the years. Run stockholding companies for 50 years. Shake hands, you stick by it. Stick by the original deal, do what you're supposed to do. Boxing, I've never, it's like, you think they were prima donnas, ballet dancing. It's just unbelievable. I don't know how Frank puts up with it, because it's bus driving men. I don't know how he does it, because changing this one, I mean, you had all the nonsense with Tyson, you know.
But we are where we are. All we want to do is deliver the fans the fights, and you know, the channel. And I mean this with the greatest respect. You know, Bill started out with me. He's been a Box Nation fighter. He's been there from the beginning, and you know, we appreciate, you know, all the fights. And he's had some hard fights. You know, I can't think of too many fighters in this country. I think it's his last 4 fights. He's fought 4 undefeated fighters in title fights. I can't think of anybody, to be quite honest, who's done that. So it's everything, you know, has been asked of him. He's done. He's stepped up, and he's, you know, local derbies, the whole thing. He did what he had to do. And I'm telling you, with Billy Joe, and we were talking about it the other day when we were talking about the Chris Eubanks fight. You look at his record, and I'm obviously keep an eye on my fighters, because I've got quite an interesting guide in their careers, and ensuring that, you know, hopefully my judgment, that they get to, through my judgment, they'll get to the top, and with the great training that Jimmy's done with him, he's done a fantastic job with him, Jimmy Tibbs. But you look at his fights, and you look at when he's been up against it, he's pulled it out. And he doesn't need marking time type of fights. He needs fights that are going to incentivise him, that get the best out of him. And I remember when he fought, was it Jared Fletcher, who's gone on to be quite a decent fighter. But York Hall, he was the underdog for that fight. Fletcher coming undefeated, he pulled it out the bag and absolutely done a job on Jared Fletcher. And I think, you know, Fletcher went on to some bigger and better things. And in his last fight against Blandamura, that was considered to be a real tough fight for him. And you know, when we look at Dan Bill's record, and you see, you know, quite a few fights have gone the distance. You know, is he a banger or he isn't? Well, certainly he was a banger that night. He pulled a punch out, which must look like being one of the knockouts of the year, or a contender for it. So when he's got the bit between his teeth, when the challenge is there, you get the best out of Billy Joe. There's no doubt about it, and that's why I'd like to see this fight go on. But if he doesn't by 5 o'clock, I can assure you, he'll be in a. I think he'll be in a tougher fight if we don't manage by 5 o'clock. And as I say, he needs these fights to bring the best out of him. He's been a consummate professional and done it the hard way. As he said, Southern area, British, Commonwealth, European, done everything that's been asked of him.
Can you tell us what the fight is that you've got lined up if Eubank doesn't?
I'm not being, I can at 5 o'clock. I'm not being evasive about it, I suppose I am. But I can't at the moment, because I have to get permission for the fight to take place. And because of the time difference at the moment, it's a little bit difficult, but it'll be a well-timed fight.
Would Billy rather have a world-title fight than fight a Polish pub fighter?
Well, listen, I mean, I've been in it to be world champion all of my life, but when you've got someone screaming your name, what they're going to do, what they don't want to do, and everybody wants to see him get knocked out, I fight for the fans, you know, and I've got 32, 33,000 Twitter followers, so many on Facebook, so all everybody's talking about is me and Chris Eubank. So before I move on to what I want to do, which I know is going to be there before this fight or after, sure like to God, come on. I should be a walk in the park for him if he can beat Golovkin. You know what I mean? His dad must be insane for saying that, for one. I ain't got a clue what his dad's on, some sort of medical drugs or something, but to say that, he must be.
Any other questions?
Have you ever been as confident for a fight as you are for this, if it happens?
Listen, I know for 100% fact, Chris Eubank Jr. would never ever beat me as long as he breathes air, ever. And I know that. I would lay my life. I'll tell you what, I said it before when I boxed John Roll, I'll say it again. If Chris Eubank Jr. beats me, I promise you not, I will give up boxing. I will stop boxing. My gloves are aimed up. If I can't beat him, I'm not going to be world champion. And I'm in it to be world champion. I'm not in here to be, you know, to pussyfoot around here to pick this opponent, pick that opponent. I'm a fighter, I'll fight anybody. Any middleweight in the world, I will fight. Simple as that. So in there, he's just, I will show people what if he's got the guts to step in the ring, I will show people what he is. I will exploit him for what he is, a fraud. And that's what he is.
Don't you think every time you call out his name and he calls out your name, you just keep him right there?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He's got 5 o'clock tonight. If you don't, you won't hear me mention his name no more because he's put to the backside. And me and Frank will be working on a bigger fight. And it is a bigger fight. What will be happening, hopefully, please God. Then, you know, so he'll be forgot about then. He'll be forgot about what. Then probably get beat by some other British fighter.
Frank, what's actually the likely chances of him actually doing this by 5 o'clock or getting this done by 5 o'clock?
It's really simple. You've got 2 lawyers, 2 solicitors. My solicitor knows what the instructions are regarding the contract, and it's up to him to instruct his solicitor. My solicitor's got instruction. We were on the phone till 11:30 again last night, having thought I agreed it, or it was agreed, God knows how many, every day it's been agreed. And that's why we, you know, unfortunately we are where we are. But if they can't get that sorted out, like 5 o'clock, they've got what? 4 hours, from 1 o'clock onwards, 4 hours. If they can't do that, then they're not, then they're either not good solicitors or they don't want the fight to happen. It's really simple. There's no rocket science about this. You're either going to give the fans what they want or you're not. And then we move on, or the fight goes on. If the fight goes on, fantastic.
They've had the contract for nearly a month anyway. So
this has been going on, you know. And you know, and Chris said to me, Chris Senior said to me that, you know, being in Vegas, you know, he's only just got back, and I'll reiterate, you know, if I do a deal with Bob Arum, who's based in Vegas, he doesn't have to fly over here for me to do the deal, vice versa. Here's the agreement. Is that right? You know, I don't like clause 1, clause 2. We negotiate and get it done. This is crazy stuff. It's just, and it's ridiculous, and it's a bit disappointing. We're here today to be in this situation. You know, I'm getting on a bit now. The blood pressure last night nearly went through the roof because it's some of it is just farcical. Absolutely, yeah. 5 o'clock we will be announcing what we're doing.
Frank, you keep saying it's being agreed every day. What changes from there? Are they after more money?
Well, it's well, Andy's been dealing with it with Parliament. Andy Owen, who's standing up the back there, and it just gets changed all the time. Last night we agreed something, and today what was agreed and what was reflected come back differently, and that's where we are. You know, I mean, it's pointless getting into the you know, the sort of details of it, because it's the details what they are right now. I'm sure by 2 o'clock, if there is going to be negotiation, we'll change again. But I can't. You know, there was you know, there's certain clauses in there. Obviously, we agreed that there'd be an ongoing situation should he win, and so forth. But you know, people talk about having 4 fights in basically 3 months is you know, it's impractical. 4 months, I should say, is impractical. So things like that were in there, and anyway, but that's all by the by. Last night we agreed it. Today, this morning, it all got changed. Apparently, they were all in the car ready to come up here. I said we need to get the agreement signed. If we don't get the agreement, if the agreement's not signed, then we're out of this. We're finished with it. And that was my position. Came here, had a chat with Bill, and Bill said we'll give him until 5 o'clock. He said if he really wants it, he'll sign. If he don't want it, then he won't sign.
So to clarify, it's not financial?
No. All the money terms are all agreed.
There's also the rematch clauses and things like that.
Yeah, I always have a rematch clause in these type of fights. First of all, it's a voluntary defence. It's not an ordered defence. And why would I have a rematch clause in there? If the first round or the second round or the third round is a clash of heads, there's a cut, and he's in front, why wouldn't you have it? You know, it goes without saying.
And I'll be happy. When I beat him, I will give him a rematch straight after if he wants it. That's no, I can't be any fairer than that. Before I move on or anything, if he when I beat him, I'll give him a rematch straight after, as if he would want to get back in the ring with me.
And what's the tickets, obviously been selling tickets on this fight as well? Has there been a lot of upsurge in it?
Well, we haven't, because we tried to hold, but we've held back as long as we can to announce it. We've had a tremendous take up of tickets, as I said, on Monday for the Fury and Chisora fight, and obviously, we've not announced, or not had press conferences yet for the undercard. I mean, they're all top of the bills in their own right. That's in the Midlands, Skeet or down here, Skeet and Bradley Skeet and Frankie Gabb is a cracking fight in itself. Liam Walsh and Gary Sykes, they're billed topping fights. These are all 50-50 fights on paper. For a boxing fan, I think it's the best show, and hopefully, whether it be Chris Eubank Jr. or Bill's fighting for the other title, then we've got a fabulous card. I think it's the best boxing card, pure boxing card that I've seen for a number of years. And I know everybody say, well, what about Rose or Frock and Rose? Well, let's get it right. On paper, Carl Frock was going into that fight as a big favourite. These are 50-50 fights on paper. He doesn't think so. He knows where he's at with his fight. He fights Christopher, but everybody's got a view on it. Frank,
if the fight with Billy Joe doesn't happen, does that have any effect on whether Chris fights on the 25th of October?
I'm not even going to get into that yet. It's pointless, and we'll see what happens.
How have you been able to deal with before this?
Sorry?
Yeah, how have you found the Eubanks to deal with before this? Have they been okay?
Well, it's not them. I deal with Christopher Senior. Young Chris, I only ever spoke to him. He's saying the bill outside. I've only spoken to him probably 4 or 5 times. And he's quite personable, quite a nice young lad. But Chris Eubank, you guys all been around. Chris Eubank, it can be. What did he say to me earlier on? I said to him, it's sometimes it's soul destroying and it's hard work. And he said, well, I'm Chris Eubank. That's where we are. I might get this show sponsored by Anadin.
Frank, ideally everyone obviously wants to see Billy Joe on this card fight Chris Eubank. Is there no chance of pushing it back a bit?
No,
December,
that's
January?
not going to happen. If this fight doesn't happen, if this is not done at 5 o'clock, we move on. Absolutely, it will not happen. We're not games with shit. I don't want anybody to think it's all that. It's very disappointing where we are today, and I think we're being more than fair. And there you go. It's 5 o'clock deadline. You either want it or you don't want it.
Listen,
If this fight doesn't happen, would you be minded to cut him off the show?
If this don't get made
He's
before 5 o'clock,
he's not going to fight. He will not be fighting on our show. There's no room on the card for another fight. That will not happen.
It will be on the 25th.
No,
he
will not be. No, he won't be fighting. You either fight. What we agreed, the deal, that's all reflected in the agreement. Everything. We're not rather going to fight. We're either going to work together, or we're not going to work together. We're not work together. Move on. Promoting is not all about being about one person, one boxer. If you're running a promotional business, you're looking after a number of clients. You're looking after them, and no one can dictate what you're going to do or think your business is going to be driven by them. It's not. I've been down that road with people over the years, and more importantly, my emphasis has been for the last 3 years is a small group of fighters, including Bill, who we've done brilliantly. But my emphasis has been on building a channel, a TV channel, a successful TV channel. It's 3rd year coming up. It's what Bill and I have been working on very hard for the last 2 years, and it's become very, very successful. We've got a database of over 350,000 subscribers now. So we're all happy.
Jimmy, you've been in the game long enough. Have you ever experienced anything like this before yourself? And obviously, how frustrating is it you as a coach?
No, I've never experienced not this close to a fight. For Green, I've been involved with fights where injuries have occurred and they've had to pull out, all genuine, but so I never seem to get to the bottom, Chris, So I've been listening to Frank, it's the first I knew about it today. And it's very disappointing because this fight is really, it's already been said, but it's really for the fans. All the fans, whether they're Chris Eubank's fans or Billy Joe's fans. He's doing it for the fans. And as you said, we're all geared up to go away abroad to train. I'm sure we'll sort something else out.
Just something you could have probably foreseen before, because I mean, when you've been asked about Eubank before, you've obviously...
Well, I said to Billy Joe when I was first making the match, don't be surprised if he pulls out, just the things he's getting in your head. But I didn't know it was going to come true. That's what's happened.
And it's funny, that's what Jim said to me, you know, weeks ago. We talked about it, said he'll pull out.
So we've got to think, boxing's about levels, and when you know in your own head and in your own heart you're not at somebody else's level, you know, it's the truth. It's like me saying now, am I Golovkin's level? No, I'm not, because I know that, but I will admit it, but he won't. He knows he's not my level, so his only option out is to moan about silly little pieces in the contract clause not to fight, and if that's what he wants to moan about and, you know, move on, I'll move on and I'll get on to bigger and better things, because there's definitely bigger and better fights out there for me to move me on in my boxing career on than wait about for him. So.
On the 11th of October. Yeah, we're going to Marbella. June down there. It's all set up, all done, flights done, everything's done.
Do you think he's scared to fight it?
What?
Or do you think he's scared and that's why he's messing
Listen,
around?
people can, I don't have to say that, people knows he's scared to fight me. Listen, if he ain't going to turn up against a press conference, is he going to turn up to get in the ring with me? We're 9 weeks out to the fight Saturday. So, you know, obviously that he hasn't got a bottle. He needs to step out of his dad's shadow and be a man for himself and get up and face the music. Has he got the bottle to fight me? No, he hasn't. That's what he is. He's running scared like a little woman, hiding behind his dad. His dad can't help him in that ring. Once he's in that ring, that bell goes, it's just me and him. Matter of fact, why, if he do box me, while I'm beating him, I'm going to talk to him. That's definitely what I want to do to him. It's just that, because it's not like I need to fight him, because I'm the champion, I don't need to fight him. But when someone's had a contract for a month and you're getting ready, you're geared up, you book things, you know, we all had things to do today. You know, Jimmy had people to train today, but he put that off to be here. You know, you don't just not turn up, or you don't just last minute, we're not fighting, you're pulling out over silliness, you know. So if you haven't got the bottle to fight, let him carry on fighting his journeyman, and he might build himself a record up for 25 fights, 20 wins or so, but he'll never get a title that beating him.
Out of the current world champions, is there a particular one you feel best suits your style?
I think with the work. Not Golovkin, let him go, yeah. No, but Golovkin, listen, he's one, you know, he's one up there at the minute, he's doing his job and he's doing it well. And I think you've got to respect fighters like that, and I do respect him. But, you know, apart from him, any other world title fight, I'm sure Frank, you know, I'll be happy to be made for me. And, you know, we'll hopefully be speaking at 5 o'clock later, if we don't make this fight, and I might have my chance.
I'll just strike the button there, Joe, if you don't mind, Frank. You notice all these world champions out there, they're all 31, 32, 33 years of age. He's just turned 25. He ain't nowhere near his peak yet. So, that's all I want to say.
The Golovkin fight's a couple of years down the road. Win one of the belts. You know, that's what the art of this business is. You know, Bill's got a long way to go. What he's done well. But, you know, he's probably about 70% of where he's going to be. So that's where we are. So it takes time. With all fighters, you know, some different, you know, levels you can put them in and take a chance. And some guys take a little bit longer. Some not so long. And Bill's what he's done up to now. He's done it the hard way. He's won everything. Okay, so we're just getting a thing come through now. We're pretty much we've got our alternative at 5 o'clock. It's been agreed, so one won't know, but we are where we are. Sorry, can't do nothing till 5.
There's only one world champion who hasn't got flights set up.
Well, we'll find out at 5.
Frank, if in an hour Chris calls you and says, yeah, say, give it a week,
no.
He's had a month.
Do you know what? We agreed it last night, and I think sometimes in life you get to situations where if you don't have a specific deadline, it will never happen. You know, 50 deadline. I mean, his press conference, he was asking me this morning, last night and this morning, to postpone it. But you know, we can't keep postponing things. We're running, at the end of the day, we're running a show. The fans want to know what's going on. It leaves everything up in the air, and it's been out there for me that we got the fight made, because I thought we had. But we are where we are now, and as I say, it's now in his lawyer and Christopher Senior's hands to make sure if they want the fight that it happens. You know, he's the boss as far as who he wants to fight, so it's 5 o'clock deadline, and that's where we are.
Do you think it shows a level of inexperience in their side? It's not like Eubank Jnr has ever handled any other fight?
I don't know. It's just frustrating. You know, he's obviously young Christopher's father. He's got his best interests at heart, and he's got his agenda. And whatever his agenda is, he has to tailor his son's career to that. But you know, sometimes you know, oil and water don't mix. And at the moment, that's where we are. And I've never heard my solicitor last night. I've never heard her scream and shout down the phone. She's pretty calm and collected. She was screaming down the phone. I had to calm her down. Normally it's the other way round. But anyway, we are where we are, and hopefully we can move forward. But it is a cracking show, and hopefully we can get this done and give the fans what they want, because that's the business we're in, giving the fans what they want. We don't duck out and making big fights. We're trying to make big fights. And any more questions, or we done? Thanks very much for coming along. Thank you.